Hey, welcome back to the Life Unscripted podcast with Rosabel. Today, I am honored to have Harold Pfeiffer with us. So, Harold's life story is nothing short of extraordinary. He's a man who have journeyed through the rebellious streets of Columbus, Mississippi, hustled his way through various challenges, and he has definitely forged an unconventional path that have led him from being an air traffic controller in Memphis to becoming an international contractor in some of the world's most volatile regions. His career took him through Iraq and Afghanistan, where he had faced unimaginable challenges amidst military drawdowns and Taliban takeovers and so on. His experiences, both harrowing and inspiring, have definitely shaped his perspective on adventure, love, life, and the resilience of human spirit. Harold has lived a life filled with extraordinary challenges and incredible resilience. His books, Surviving Chaos, How I Found Peace at a Beach Bar, and his most recent, My Bully, My Aunt, and Her Final Gift, explore this tumultuous upbringing, his survival in war zones like Afghanistan, Iraq, Guantanamo Bay, and how he has navigated the trauma of growing up with a schizophrenic mother and an abusive aunt, experiencing also racism and bullying. So today, Harold will share his journey, the lessons he have learned, and how he have used humor to overcome it all. So Harold, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Nice to be here, Miss Rosabel, and I hope I can
Awesome.
enlighten everyone.
Thank you so much. That is the plan here. So, Harold, let's dive right in. So, you definitely faced so many hardships through your life, from violent, unpredictable childhood to surviving Taliban suicide bombing in Afghanistan. When you look back at everything you have been through, what are the moments that stand out as a life changing, transformative? What is it that you say, okay, this is what transformed me and who I am today?
Wow. I have to go back to Afghanistan. What got the book started, Surviving Chaos, How I Found Peace at a Beach Bar. Our camp got bombed by the Taliban, and the Taliban they have a practice. They would bomb a place or wherever, and then after they bomb, whoever was left standing there, they're coming and shoot everybody, at least until they lost their own life. So once the camp got bombed, and I was still, hey, I'm still here. And then, but I'm thinking, okay, the second wave or the second phase is going to kick in. I'm in the, cafeteria waiting, hopefully I could find a way out. And eventually I did make it back to what we call the safe room. But the whole time I was thinking, man, this is it. And I always thought about writing a book. And we talk, your whole life, but I had never done it, and like most people, they think about writing a book. And then during that moment, I said, Lord, if you let me out of here, I'm gonna write that book. So Surviving Chaos, How I Found Peace at a Beach Bar is that book. And I kind of haven't stopped writing since.
Wow. That is an amazing story by itself, right there. Can you tell us a little bit about your new book, My Bully, My Aunt, and Her Final Gift? What is it about, and what made you decide to write that particular story?
It was kind of like popular domain. In the initial book, Surviving Chaos, How I Found Peace at a Beach Bar, people kept asking me about that aunt, or they'll make comments, man, she was rough, she was mean, or I got an aunt like that, like, so I kept hearing that, like, she deserves a story. So, but both of the books, to be honest, tried to be uplifting and spread a lot of humor. I didn't want or didn't want it to be completely woe is me, and they want to drag somebody's spirit down. It's the opposite.
Right.
It lift you up, make you laugh, make you look at your family, or because we all know somebody that they kind of get on your skin. And so it was a lot about her. And I like, yeah, I can make this entertaining. I can share, and people see really how rotten she really is. Of course it was, and enjoy reading it.
Gotcha. So, yeah, so in that particular book, you share the painful and complex relationship that you had with your aunt, Kathy, right? That was her name,
Okay,
correct?
right.
And what was your Aunt Kathy like? I mean, how did she shape your childhood and what was, ultimately, how did she shape your life?
She was okay when my brother wasn't around. My brother 3 years older, more handsome. He could dance, I couldn't. And my aunt wanted to adopt him away from my mother. And even though my mother's schizophrenic, she like, nah, she not letting go of her kids, and especially her first child. So my aunt was jealous of her, because my mom was more attractive and got all the attention, got the men. Even though she had a condition, men still would try to, would hit on her. And my aunt was quite the opposite. She was too masculine, kind of, rough edge and not quite your lady like. But since she couldn't adopt my brother, she took it on her own. I'm gonna kind of be his mom, a surrogate mom anyway. And in the process, she stepped on the rest of us, the rest of the brother had two other brothers, and she did all she could to make sure we didn't outshine him. Well, my brother, he was handsome and all that, but he was a blockhead. Even though I was smarter, more courageous, more curious, sponge for knowledge, she would, just try to push me aside to make sure I didn't outshine him.
Very interesting. Now, you spent over a decade working on some of the most dangerous places in the world: Afghanistan, Iraq, and even Guantanamo Bay. In your memoir, you said that you found more peace in war zone than you did in your childhood home. Can you explain that and how did those experiences again change your view on understanding peace and chaos?
Yeah, it's weird. Well, we were, dirt poor, like a lot of people, but we were dirt poor, the kind of, where it rains, it leaks down. It's cold, you can see the ground, you can see the floor, you can see the ground from through the
Right.
floor. And then there's my mother, who was schizophrenic, and she would have these episodes. I mean, just bout after bout, and so trying to go to school or do your homework, you couldn't concentrate because she would have these arguments with the wall, whatever this whatever was bothering her, she projected on the wall, and she would face the wall. She would beat the wall. It would go on and on for hours. And I would try to, outlast her, just try and like wait it out, wait it out. Well, by the time she ran out of gas, it's 1 in the morning. And I got homework due, at 8,
Right.
So I would be exhausted at school, hungry, exhausted, all that. So it was rough. And I was never comfortable. So being in Afghanistan with the Taliban, well, they didn't attack every day, so I had a bunch of comfortable days. So you see what I'm saying? So I had days to
Right.
gather yourself to think. I had food. You're like, it's better over here than being at home. When I was a kid.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think? How did you manage to survive in such environment, especially as a child? What do you remember doing then that kind of help you cope with what was going on at the time?
It was well, it was hard to have friends because kids always picked on you about your mother, you know, and also being poor. You wearing clothes that don't match. My mother would go out her way to get attention. Like cars coming, she'd run out in front of them. On her bicycle, she ride a bike, she run out in front of them. She would chase kids just for laughs. Or I mean, the kids would be spooked. They'll run. She didn't know you, and she just saw something that I guess it bothered, and she would cuss you out. So people took that resentment out on me. You know. So I tried to stay out of sight, out of mind, not being heard. It was rough. It was rough dealing with her. And it was constant. It wasn't like one day. It was like 6 out of 7 days, if not all 7 days.
Wow. And then another part of your story is the near death experience that you survived at a Taliban suicide bombing. Can you walk us through what happened that day? What went through your mind as you were caught in the blast? I know you said a little bit earlier, but can you tell us a little bit what happened?
Sure. It was kind of spooky. I don't want to say I had a sixth sense or anything, but had a feeling like I got off work, you know, we worked away from where we live. So once I got home to kind of like our accommodation, I had this eerie feeling. It was weird. Couldn't put a finger on it. So I go to dinner, and just as I walked in the door, the place blew up. I mean, and it felt like the building left the ground. So, I'm sitting there thinking it's over. And that was shocking because luckily I wasn't in in my room, in my accommodation. But still, like I said, I knew I had work to do to find safety.
Absolutely. And then you also talk about how humor or the humor that you use to cope with the chaos around you. How did humor become a tool for survival? How did you find laughter in the darkest times?
You hear certain jokes, and I want to say it started with me and my younger brother. We would pick on each other. I mean, we would tear each other apart with jokes. And so that was kind of like our medicine or our, I guess you'd say, drug, if you will. And it kept us going. I mean, like even Christmas, there's no Christmas present. So we would take it out on each other. Hey, I got you a gift, You're like, what? I got you an orange. It would be, it would be whatever to throw each other off. And we got used to some of it, but then we were creating new jokes, and it kept it. I guess you
Well,
say it blotted out some of the pain.
absolutely. In your first book, Surviving Chaos, you spoke about the pain and confusion of growing up in poverty. You're telling us a little bit here. And you also experienced, feeling racism with family dysfunction. When you reflect on those times now, do you ever feel amazed that you're here today sharing this story? This
Definitely. Oh, definitely. It's without being overly spiritual, it's a blessing. Could have gone the wrong way so many times. Could have been with the wrong crowd. The things I did. Um, my mom had a gun in the house. Of all things, a schizophrenic person has a gun in the house. Well,
Wow.
as a kid, you know where it is. So we would go get it, play with it. Once I beat up my younger brother, he chased me with it. Some kids were picking on me, older kids, when I was about 7 or 8. I went and got it and chased them. I mean, I thank God, no one got hurt. You thank God. They came, she had a rifle, first of all, and she tried to shoot through the door. There were some kids that, this may sound new, but everybody knew, where the crazy lady lived. So one night, one summer, a bunch of kids were out harassing, making noise. They're trying to get her to come out, do some crazy or some antics. And they got bold. They start, coming up on the porch. So she got the gun and tried to fire through the door. Yeah, I mean, it was just craziness after craziness. And so, like you said, I am grateful beyond measure, that I'm here. And
Right.
I think I'm fairly sane.
And how old were you? And you said the crazy lady. Is that how they used to refer about your mom?
Yep. And
Did that
go
did
ahead.
that ever bother you?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It was like, people put you in certain categories. And
Right.
so I was the one that was, you know, lowest on the bottom of the totem pole. So if I stood out too much, they kind of had to put me back in my place. He's a
Right.
crazy lady, or hey, I saw your mom, or your mom doing such and such. You know, something to take the tarnish off, to take the shine off, to bring you down.
Yeah, I can only imagine
Yeah.
what you went through. Also, you mentioned in your book that the death of your aunt Kathy was pivotal moment for you because something about her death taught you about what was it? Was it about grief, love, forgiveness? What did you feel the need to give her a dignified memorial despite of the cruel treatment that she had
Well,
of you?
quite the opposite. I didn't want to be a part of it, and the preacher pulled me in, and that's kind of what the story starts. The preacher
Okay.
talks about he need my help, and I'm like, not me, like I don't have anything good to share. And he kind of blackmailed me into it, or well, he guilted me. He talked about how he looked out for me, you know, when everybody else wanted to kick me out of the church, he had my back. When everybody thought me going to college was a waste of time, and he laid it out. He guilt me into it, like, okay, okay, I'll do it, right? So even still, and I talk about it in the book, and it is comedy though. I said, well, I'm gonna have to find some ways to survive during her eulogy. So
Right.
yeah, so one thing I talk about in the book, I knew she would have this awesome casket, which she did. She was narcissist like that. So I talked the director to trade it out for a wooden casket so I can beat on the casket whenever the pastor was lying, so I can drum on it. It's just things I did differently just to make sure I
Right.
could survive.
Right. But what do you think she taught you, about grief, love, and forgiveness?
It was in hindsight. It was thinking, I mean, after her death, it was more of let go. One thing I realized, it either make you more angry or it'll leave a big hole in you. See, so you have to find the positive rather than letting the rage or let and that's easy to say it. I know that's easy to say it,
Right.
but you got to find a positive when you lose someone.
Absolutely. You also mentioned that for years you duck or dodge. They kind of like it went unnoticed. So, in other words, people did not know perhaps what you were going through in silence. Do you think this was a coping mechanism for you, or was it like a survival strategy? I mean, how did you manage to raise yourself when no one else was really there to support you?
It was all luck, grace of God. I don't know. I mean, I hear a lot of entertainers say they had a knack or they just knew they would be, say, great actors or great singers or whatever. I just knew I would make it. And my approach was if I could make it to college, if I could make it through this high school, leave this town, which was Columbus, and and I can make it. Otherwise, I didn't see no other way. I mean, I even to this day, this is weird. Even to this day, I kick myself like if I was sharp or tough as I thought I was, I should have ran away. But there was no place to go. I mean, I
Right.
I looked at that option. I mean, a lot of time, and there was no place for me to go. I'm like, I'm not going on the street. I ain't gonna do that. I had no relatives that cared enough to take me in. They would have sent me back. It was like just wait till you get out of high school.
Right. Yeah, your story definitely involves overcoming a lot of trauma, significant trauma from both family and society. What advice do you have for those who are dealing with similar circumstances today? I mean, whether it's living with a family member who suffers from mental illness or they're experiencing, bullying or something like that. What would you say to them?
If you got someone with some kind of illness, you gotta find to get them help. Gotta find to be compassionate, which is hard. It depends on what it is. It could be drug addiction. That's hard because that probably takes away probably. And what I mean by that, anyone with a drug habit or they probably taking stealing or taking advantage of you. But you got to kind of if you could find it that they're not fully themselves, you got to find to get them some help. Which my mother never got any help. And I think my aunt relished that because it made her look so much bigger. It made her the one we had to come to, which was poor advice, but still the only advice we could get was from her. Only support it was from her. But yeah, if you're being bullied, that's tough. Because I got bullied a lot, and I got kind of lucky too because you know I was able to find friends that kind of like in an indirect way. It's like it was hard to find them, but I was somewhat athletic. So my athletic friend, they marvel at your skill or that you kind of one of them. And then when the bullets come along, they may say something or they may jump in a fight or something or
Right.
or they may break it up. I got some support that kind of way.
I do have a question for you, and I don't know. Maybe you haven't mentioned this in the book, or maybe you have. But uh, what about your dad, your father?
Wow, that still somewhat painful. He was a principal, forgot about me, and that was hard. But I got a relationship with my stepbrothers and my stepmom now. But I told my stepmom about a week ago. I said not having a dad was the least of my problem.
Wow.
But yeah, that could have fixed a lot of things. Yes, it could have.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Um, so you grew up in Mississippi during the civil rights unrest, right?
kind of.
Which
Go ahead.
which was a great time of social and racial tension. What was your experience like back then? I mean, how do you view the ongoing struggles, you know,
And
today?
this is weird, and I'm proud of it for all the right reasons, but I really only ran into one or two situations that I could say was unbearable. I have to admit, I was lucky. I had a lot of white friends in the 70s. I had white friends I would spend the night with as I started to get away from my family issue. But when I was 12, I shared this with you. I was working at this kind of like a grill, downtown grill. And I was just a short order cook at 12. And they played country music and everything. And that's how I learned country music. But anyway, I thought everybody liked me. So this one customer come in like a Friday night, and I never seen him before. And I did his order, everybody at the table to perfection. And all of a sudden he called me the N-word. And I was shocked. Because one, everybody normally knew me, liked me. Um,
Right.
and it threw me. And I just looked at him. And I'm like 12. And all I could think of was, why would you pick on a 12-year-old? It wasn't so much the word, it's more of, I'm a little boy. He's 28 probably, some in that neighborhood, right? So I stood there frozen. And finally the manager told me, go to the back. And it bothered me also that they were on a first name basis. And after that, it affected me so much. I started coming to work late. I didn't want to be there anymore. And eventually I got fired, and it was like a release, you know. It was weird, but yeah, it was like a release, It was like I needed to leave there. But
Right.
yeah.
You have written about how growing up without being nurtured or loved has affected your ability to form healthy relationships as an adult. Now, how did you overcome that challenge? What would you tell others who might be struggling with similar issues in their relationships?
Oh, you definitely gotta get counseling. It took me a long time before I got it. Because you think you can heal yourself and you can't, and you won't even be aware, but you put a lot of that hurt off on others. Even even a couple years ago, it's like that adage of they say hurt people. That
Right.
was me. And then also, I mean, not physically, but I would kind of know it, or I expected too much. I expected perfection. And nobody perfect. And everybody they come with their own set of issues. I was unyielding. And, you know, I know why. And also even like the Aunt Cassie contributed to me being nobody or not relevant. So you push because you want to be relevant. I want to be seen as that person. And, the people I date, they care, they love me. But if it wasn't the way or if it wasn't more than, that I thought it should be, I was, I was tough. And I had to realize that.
And so we keep talking about this, but one of the things that actually struck me about your writing is your ability to blend humor with such deep pain. Your books are filled with moments that can actually make readers laugh and cry at the same time. How cathartic was that for you to write these stories and kind of revisit your past?
Oh yeah, it's like therapy. It is, and even to make yourself laugh again, because it's like this kind of funny, but even writing, you like, and it's like, yeah, that is real funny. It still feels good. And but even the painful stuff, in surviving chaos, how I found peace at the beach bar. I was sharing with someone on another podcast. I said one of the things I wrote about in that book was me and my older brother. There's this situation where the school sent a letter home. They wanted our parents to perform with us in a school play. I'm like seven, second grade. Now, foolishly, I don't know if it was me and my older brother, we made the mistake of letting that letter come home because we weren't gonna, we know better. We let our mom see this, and she got a hold of it. Oh man, she's like, yeah, she's got to do this. And we're like, no, right? That's the end of life itself. We get
Wow.
teased every day, all day, and you're gonna go sit on the stage at my school? Oh no! So we were in panic mode. We mad at each other. Who made this mistake? And it may have been me, being the youngest, probably. And of all the times, she never checked our homework. And of all the time, she see the paper in my book, right? What the
Wow.
God, right? So the night of, we were trying to hide. We're trying to, trying to think of. At least I was trying to think of. I don't want to be seen with her. And my brother being the oldest and the cutest, she like got him like, you gotta be with me. And I'm like, I'm trying to find a place in the spot when hardly no on the stage where nobody kind of could see me. She did the Gettysburg Address, and she did it flawless. Blew my mind. I never, I hate to say this, I never saw my mom being intelligent. Blew my mind. Yeah. So
Amazing.
yeah,
Amazing. So, how long have you been a writer for? How long have you been writing books for?
started about 2017.
Okay. Okay. And this is what, your fourth book, right?
It's about the
The
fifth
new one.
on Amazon, but I have written about seven. But yeah,
Wow. Amazing. So,
it,
definitely it's like therapy for you, right?
it is.
It's amazing. And so, for those who may have grown up in a more stable, loving environment, what do you want them to understand about the life you live and the resilience it took to make it through?
Well, and that's the thing. It's like it's not. I have to make that leap, and that's why I hid who I was for so long. I didn't want nobody's sympathy. I just want to fit in. To live a normal life. So I hid that. And like the surviving kids, when I finally realized I've hid it for a long time, I realized, and this is for anybody going through something. I'm not saying don't get counseling, but I realized if you want sympathy or pity, you'll get it. Probably you'll get it. But you won't get invited to the party, you know? So it's like you kind of got to pick which way you want to go with this. It's like,
Right.
so once I realized that, like, but shut up, you know. I want to go to this party. I want to hang out with the girls. Um,
Right, right,
yeah, y'all stop talking about that bad stuff that my mom did, whatever.
right. And have fun and enjoy your life, right?
Right.
Absolutely. And now that you're looking at the bigger picture, what is the lasting message that you hope people can take away from your memoirs? Is there something specific you want the readers to take away from your story? Is it survival, resilience, and
Definitely,
what is it? Yes.
definitely being resilient, believe in yourself. More times than not, you got to believe there's always a better day, or your time is gonna come. Find a way to laugh at yourself if you can. Laugh a lot laugh a lot, laugh at yourself. And like I said, don't be afraid. If you got someone that you know is solid, supportive, lean on 'em when you need to.
Absolutely.
Don't ignore that source. Don't ignore that support,
Absolutely. So, where can people find information about you on the web? Do you have a website, right?
Yeah, so my website is riseandread.com, like get up and read,
Okay.
riseandread.com, riseandread.com.
Okay. And then you are on social media.
Yes, on Facebook, Instagram. It's Harold Pfeiffer 2024 on Facebook and Instagram. I'm on,
And your books are on Amazon and
that's right, books on Amazon.
okay. Very, very good. Anything else you wanted to tell it?
Make sure to go out,
Maybe it's something that
go out and get a
oh, look at
copy.
you.
Yeah, go out and get a
Yes.
copy. It's My Bully, My Aunt, and Her Final Gift by Harold Pfeiffer. It's racing up the charts. The paperback are out of stock with Amazon. That's how good it's doing. But they still got the ebook and they got the audiobook. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, you won't regret it.
And I didn't want to ask what was her final gift, but because I mean, is that spoiler alert or you want to
Kind of
just
spoiler alert. Yeah, because it takes a bunch of twists and turns. Yeah, kind of spoiler alert.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's the idea. Definitely I really enjoy. I have to be honest with you. I mean, didn't fully finish that one, your last one. I read a few other ones that, and again, very impressed. Again, one of the things I has mentioned before was the fact that the way you write, you're going through the motion and you're also adding the humor and it's very vivid. I really enjoyed your style of writing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. One of the things I share in some of the dark part in surviving chaos, half pound piece at the beach bar. I told people, I said, I talked about my bad relationship with females. If you talked about the good, people think you're bragging. I said, so I wanted to talk about or have fun with how I got dumped on, dumped, taken advantage of. And it's in the book and they're funny. And I wanted to share it because I'm like, this is entertaining and I can laugh at myself, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Harold, thank you so much for sharing such a powerful, inspiring insight with us today. I think your journey is a testament to the strength of what I call the human spirit and power of resiliency. That's one of my favorite words. So, again, for anyone who's looking more of Harold's story, be sure to check out his books, Surviving Chaos, right? And the last one, My Bully, My Aunt, and Her Final Gift.
Right.
It's been a pleasure having you on the show. And you're welcome to come back anytime.
Appreciate it. Enjoy being here.
Thank you, Harold.